Hey guys, Nabil here. Last week we were all taken by surprise when, out of nowhere, the King of Fighters Awaken was announced. And if you don't know what the King of Fighters Awaken is, well, you gotta be awake. It's the first King of Fighters movie going to theaters. Yes, I am not even counting that American King of Fighters movie which was released on DVD. It was a direct-to-DVD B movie that we should definitely forget and never talk about. So, what is the King of Fighters Awaken? Now, as I said, it is an animation movie destined for China and it will be released on 2020. But the purpose of this video is to say and collect all the information we know about this movie. Now, I did scout the internet, looked at different websites, and thanks to a couple contacts, I found out something that was quite cool about this movie. Now, let's get first about the things that we already know. Now, the first thing is this movie is going to be released in China in 2022, and it's coming again to theaters. Now, there was no words yet on international release, but obviously this is going to be released at least in Asia and Japan and other parts of the world. Whether it's gonna get a US and European release remains to be seen, but again, the King of Fighters is huge in Asia, so I expect a Japanese version of the movie with the Japanese VA, because right now if you watch the trailer, and I'm sure you did, I've watched it several times, and as you know, the language spoken is Mandarin. But this is again the King of Fighters. It's a big franchise in Japan, so I expect it to get a Japanese voiceover before release. Now, the other thing we know is that the movie is produced by Joy Film Productions. It's a Chinese movie company and is developed by iDragons. And if this name sounds familiar to you, well, it should. iDragons are the one who actually were hired by SNK in 2017 to do the King of Fighters Destiny, which was the first King of Fighters Destiny animated series. It was of course CGI, and we only had one season before it was cancelled, maybe not cancelled. We'll talk about that in a little bit. The other thing we know for sure is that Genitz, the boss of the King of Fighters 96 video game, is the main antagonist of this movie, which makes it some sort of adaptation of the King of Fighters 96 story. The movie seems to be a continuation of the King of Fighters Destiny, and the reason I say that is, again, it's made by the same team at iDragons. As you probably have noticed, the production values are completely different and way higher than what we got in the King of Fighters Destiny. But you gotta remember, the King of Fighters Destiny was a free to digital release of a series. It was actually produced by SNK, and it right now is not SNK that are producing the King of Fighters Awaken movie, but a Joy Film, or Joy Film Pictures, Joy Pictures, I believe. So yes, it seems to be a continuation of the King of Fighters Destiny. The King of Fighters Destiny was an adaptation of the King of Fighters 94, and this is an adaptation of King of Fighters 96, which makes me hopeful that we're gonna get something in between to tell us the story of the King of Fighters 95. Now, when iDragons were working on the King of Fighters Destiny, the original plan is to have a 3-season animated series and then lead to a theatrical release for the adaptation of the King of Fighters 97, which is why I see a lot of people online saying, well, this is probably the King of Fighters 97 adaptation. It is not. What I believe happened, and again, I'm waiting for confirmation on this, is that after the King of Fighters Destiny, the first season, it did really well in terms of ratings. They actually decided to jump and do the adaptation of the King of Fighters 96 on film, on theaters, and then it will probably lead to a sequel, which will be the adaptation of the King of Fighters 97, which is, again, looking at the whole series, it leaves the King of Fighters 95 without an adaptation, and I believe this is what we're gonna get between now and 2022, because again, we're talking about a movie that is about 2 years from now. There's gonna be something in between to tie these two series, hopefully. Now, the main plot, it actually surrounds Kyo and Iori as they're trying to stop the resurrection of a god. Well, I'll tell you exactly what it says in the information I found, and then I'll translate it to you in terms of King of Fighters plot. So according to the revealed information, and I'll talk about where that information can be seen, is the movie is about Kyokusanagi and Iori Yagami working together to save a young boy from an evil god. Now, this character is actually an original character, and what it seems to me from looking at the description is that Genets and the Hakeshu are trying to resurrect Orochi, obviously, and to resurrect Orochi you have to sacrifice, there needs to be a sacrifice. Now in the King of Fighters 97, the whole point was the Hakeshu were trying to sacrifice Kyo's girlfriend Yuki, and at the end it ended up being Chris who was sacrificed to revive the Dark Lord Orochi. Now it seems that this movie is about the Hakeshu trying to resurrect Orochi through this child, this original character. Are we going to see this original character in a future King of Fighters game? Remains to be seen. Now, we only heard about this movie last week, right? But the movie was announced in June at Cannes in France. It was actually, I found it thanks to Daniel Ahmed, who actually sent me the tweet when I talked to him. It actually was announced on June 24th, and the article, as you can see here, it says that China's Joy Pictures is selling 10 Chinese titles at the Cannes, and then it actually comes to, meanwhile, it is announcing 2 new titles. The King of Fighters Awaken is a 3D feature-length adaptation of Japanese firm SNK's popular fighting game King of Fighters. An English-language live-action film based on the game was released direct to DVD in 2010. Joy Pictures is partnering with Jiangsu-based firm Original Force and iDragon Creative Studio on the film, in which 2 main characters from the popular game seek to save a newly introduced character, a young boy, from an evil god. So again, a newly introduced character is the focus here. Are we gonna get this character in the King of Fighters 15 or 16? Or not, or maybe this is gonna be just a sad tale of a sacrifice of this boy that would not lead to the resurrection of Orochi, because we know that's gonna happen through Chris and the Orochi team. Now, time will tell. So this is pretty much everything that we know about the King of Fighters Awaken. I hope you guys enjoyed this video from Neo Geo Now. Now don't forget to like and subscribe if you have not done so, and I would like to take this opportunity and thank my patrons for supporting the channel and making this content possible. Making daily videos and especially the documentaries and lore episodes takes a very long time and a lot of effort, and being able to get some support for these time-consuming tasks allow me to keep going and strive for more and better content. With that said, I want to give a big special shout out to Michael, Brian Tiard, and Fahad Aswadi, as well as special thanks to Shaka Asamia, Heinz Green 3, Refugio Robles, and Felipe Guiomara. Those of you who are not yet Neo Geo Now patrons, I hope you will check my Patreon page where you can become patrons, helping the channel produce more videos, as well as receive special perks that are exclusive to patrons, like early access to videos, exclusive making-offs, and other SNK digital goodies. Link for the Neo Geo Patreon page is in the description below. So until next time, thank you for watching.